Civil liberties. Healthcare Workers Against Censorship request a meeting with Wes Streeting. I'm not going to allow independence of regulators or complexity of regulation to stand in the way of tackling this anti-Semitism and anti-genocide speech problem. As Health Minister Wes Streeting makes promises to crack down on anti-Zionist speech in the NHS, a new free speech advocacy group has been formed to defend the right of healthcare workers to oppose genocide and speak the truth. Healthcare Workers Against Censorship, Monday the 1st of September 2025. The following letter has been sent to Wesley Streeting, Secretary of State for Health and Social Care. Dear Mr. Streeting, we, the Healthcare Workers Against Censorship, HAC, and the undersigned, write to request an urgent meeting with you in your capacity as Secretary of State for Health and Social Care. We are gravely concerned by a series of public statements made since your appointment, which have exacerbated a climate of fear and suppression among healthcare professionals in the UK. These remarks have placed many hard-working staff at increased risk of vexatious complaints and legal warfare, simply for expressing solidarity with their colleagues in Gaza, or for advocating the preservation of life and adherence to international law. On the 23rd of July 2025, you tweeted, quotes, "We stand with healthcare workers in Gaza who are doing life-saving work in the most unimaginably challenging and horrific circumstances. Tedros, Director General of the World Health Organization, and his team have my full support." End quote. This sentiment, however, stands in stark contrast to the lived reality of hundreds of UK health workers, many of whom have been investigated, sanctioned, or suffered reputational damage simply for expressing the same values of humanitarianism and solidarity. While over 1,581 healthcare workers have been killed in Gaza by Israeli occupation forces, those in the UK who speak up in defence of their colleagues' protection and dignity face disciplinary action. We trust you are aware of the recent Channel 4 documentary, Gaza, Doctors Under Attack, aired on the 28th of June 2025, which lays bare the scale of devastation. Yet under your watch, the repression of UK healthcare workers who speak out against this has significantly deteriorated. In March 2024, a survey by the British Islamic Medical Association, BIMA, of over 650 healthcare workers found that 93% of healthcare workers felt restricted or censored in calling for the preservation of life or for a ceasefire in Gaza, while Black, Asian and minority ethnic BAME healthcare workers have been disproportionately targeted, a pattern acknowledged at an institutional level. Colleagues from all backgrounds have experienced the consequences of this chilling climate. These concerns about censorship are echoed by the British Medical Association, BMA, which, following its annual representative meeting, issued an updated statement in June 2025 on the Israel-Gaza situation that reflected the prevailing concerns of British doctors. The BMA emphasised the duty of healthcare professionals to speak out against breaches of international humanitarian law, called for an end to attacks on medical infrastructure and personnel in Gaza, reaffirming the importance of humanitarian neutrality and professional conscience, affirmed the right of healthcare professionals and medical students to criticise states, governments or institutions that violate international law, called for the protection and reinstatement of those facing disciplinary action for such expressions. We remind you that anti-Zionism is a protective philosophical belief under the Equality Act 2010, and that NHS staff have a right to hold and express such views without fear of retaliation. Additionally, Article 10 of the European Convention on Human Rights, ECHR, safeguards the right to freedom of expression, including political expression, even when controversial. In Professional Standards Authority versus General Pharmaceutical Council and Ali 2024, EWHC 577 Admin, Ali number 2, the court recognised that, quotes, accusations of antisemitism can be used to malign and discredit those engaging in legitimate criticism of the policy and conduct of the State of Israel, and thereby to suppress such criticism. In a liberal democracy such as ours, there is a strong public interest in allowing such decisions to be informed by criticism of Israel and the responses to those criticisms. Legal frameworks must be interpreted and applied so as to avoid the chilling of legitimate political speech, which attracts the highest level of protection under Article 10 ECHR. End quote. In light of this legal and ethical context, in November 2024, you met with representatives from the Board of Deputies, Community Security Trust, Jewish Leadership Council and Jewish Medical Association to discuss their views on alleged antisemitism. Last week, similar pro-Israel lobbying groups were once again granted a platform at a summit hosted by the APPG on antisemitism and the government's alleged independent advisor, Lord John Mann. Your remarks at the recent summit have caused widespread concern and disquiet throughout the healthcare profession. In particular, the remarks, quotes, I'm not going to allow independence of regulators or complexity of regulation or other excuses to stand in the way of tackling this problem. If we need stronger laws and stronger regulation, they're my favourite problems to solve because they don't cost money and we've got a majority to get things through Parliament. End quote. From a public servant are unacceptable. This raises serious alarm about political interference in bodies that are meant to function independently and without bias. Public confidence in these institutions depends on their impartiality and freedom from political or lobbying pressure. You have failed to demonstrate such impartiality by making condemnatory remarks about anti-genocide doctors who have not been found guilty of any wrongdoing and for whom there is no evidence of harm to any patients, Jewish or otherwise. It must be made unequivocally clear that political interference in regulatory bodies will not be tolerated, nor will the misuse of British legislation to advance the agenda of lobbying interests aligned with a foreign entity committing genocide. Your rhetoric to pro-Israeli organisations, which continue to downplay or deny the Holocaust being live-streamed from Palestine, is out of step not only with UK and international law, but also with the views of healthcare workers and the wider public. They risk further eroding confidence in your ability to act impartially on behalf of all NHS staff. This inconsistency is thrown into sharper relief when viewed alongside recent government actions. In October 2023, the Department of Health and Social Care flew the Israeli flag in a display of political solidarity at a time when allegations of war crimes were already widespread and arms sales to Israel continued unchecked. These actions have only become more alarming in the light of the International Court of Justice's subsequent provisional ruling in January 2024, which found a plausible case of genocide and ordered the UK and other states to prevent complicity. Further compounding public concern are reports that you have received an estimated £70,000 in financial support from pro-Israel lobby groups, alongside coverage in the Jewish Chronicle describing you as, quotes, our friend in the NHS, end quotes. These factors have fueled mounting allegations of bias. We trust you understand the importance of dispelling such perceptions and upholding your duties to all UK citizens, regardless of political or religious affiliation. In the light of the above, we request an urgent response to our request for a meeting to discuss the concerns raised in this letter, and within the next fortnight. Ideally, this meeting should be held jointly with Mr. Charlie Massey, Chief Executive of the GMC, and Professor Dame Carrie McEwen, Chair of the GMC Council, both of whom have been copied into this correspondence. Please be advised that this letter and your response will be shared publicly in the interest of transparency. Yours sincerely, Dr. Tamara Ali, Founder, Healthcare Workers Against Censorship, supported by Dr. Ghassan Abu Sitar, Plastic and Reconstructive Surgeon, Rector, University of Glasgow Medical School, former war surgeon with MSF, ICRC and MAP. Professor Nick Maynard, Consultant Surgeon, Oxford University Hospitals, Chair, Medical Aid for Palestine. Dr. Mohammed Mustafa, British-Australian Emergency Doctor, volunteered at Al-Ahli Arab Hospital, Gaza City. Dr. James Smith, Emergency Physician and Lecturer in Humanitarian Policy and Practice, UCL, volunteer with Medical Aid for Palestinians at Al-Aqsa Hospital, Gaza Strip. Dr. Omar Abdel Manan, Pediatric Neurologist, Founder, Health Workers for Palestine. Dr. Ismail Patel, Chair, Friends of Al-Aqsa. Dr. Mohammed Iqbal Adil, Consultant General, Colorectal, Laparoscopic and Breast Surgeon, Chairman and Founder, World Doctors Alliance. Health Workers for Palestine, Advocacy Group. Frank McGuinness, Director, Riverway to the Sea. David Clues, Lead Correspondent, Unity News Network, UNN. Giles Dexter, Broadcaster. Saeed Moshin Abbas, Journalist and Presenter. International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network, Britain, Advocacy Group. Health Workers and Allies for Palestine, Advocacy Group. Chris Williamson, former MP and Shadow Minister, Deputy Leader, Workers' Party of Britain. Arif Mahmoud, Activist, Independent Movement. Hussein Hoz Shafai, Podcaster, former National Election Coordinator, Workers' Party of Britain. Donal Lennon, Thanat for Palestine. Ofra Al-Muflahi, Founder and Director, British Arab Nursing and Midwifery Association. Professor Emeritus Graham Ogden, former Vice President, Dental, Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons, Glasgow. El McNamara, Founder, Educate to Liberate, Liverpool. Global Health, BDS for Palestine, Advocacy Network.